my world. So. Good.
How you doing out there, Laredo? I'm so happy that you all could join us today for this Q&A with this amazing actor here. I want to get this started just with some quick questions.
Okay.
Can you all hear me in the back? Is everybody good? Yeah? All right, so I'm going to start off with some introductory kind of like getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
Again, can you guys hear me out there all the way to the back?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good. Okay. We started with me being an amazing man, right?
Yes, sir. Right. Now, what I do want to ask is, what made you get into acting? How did you get your start? And then this is a big one because I'm in the arts, okay? I'm an art teacher. And I was just wondering, were your parents supportive of your choice to get into the arts, to go into the arts?
Well, how did I get in the arts? I got in the arts out of desperation. I worked a lot of jobs. By the time I got to the 10th grade, I realized that I had no sort of future plans. By the time I got to high school, I realized that I had to make a living and I wasn't prepared to do much of anything. And then I got married really young, and my wife got pregnant with that guy back there. And suddenly I realized that I had no future prospects to do anything, and I better do something really quick. So I worked a lot of jobs for a couple of years until I finally got into college. And when I got into college, I took an acting class and I fell in love with acting. And then once I fell in love with acting, I knew that I had to really train hard. I spent a lot of years in school. I went to Yale School of Drama, and when I got out, I had 2 sons, and the marriage was no longer happening, but I had the boys, and you do what you have to do. I think the universe guides us in a very special way, so I've always sort of trusted that. So, is that a long answer?
That was a great answer. All right, so I hear that you write. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I started out wanting to be a writer as a kid. As a little kid, I always thought of myself as a writer. I went to college as a playwright. I got my scholarship to Yale as a playwriting student. I went to Hollywood to try to break into writing. But at that point, my marriage had ended. I had the boys. And the thing with writing is you can spend a lot of time writing and rewriting, and it's hard to get paid. With acting, if you go in and audition for a movie, studio movie, back in those days especially, if they hired you, you got paid. Even if they changed their mind and didn't do the movie, you still got paid. And acting became a way of making sure the rent was paid, the phone stayed on, the kids ate. The writing, as much as I love to do it, it was very hard for me to figure out how do I get paid doing this. And as a result, I ended up putting it to the back burner and figured someday when I got older and stopped working as an actor, I'd get back to the writing. But I find it very difficult to maintain that discipline. I just I submitted a piece that's in a book that's just been published, but the writing is very difficult for me to, because it's self-discipline and it's on you. You got to be the one to motivate. You got to be the one to make it happen. Whereas acting, if someone has a movie, there's a part in it, they're producing it, all I got to do is do what I do. So I find that, well, I'm just, I suppose, used to that. And so that's, I think at the heart of it all, I'm an actor. I think writing is something that I feel I have the talent for, but the discipline is a different thing. And I believe in acting. I believe in acting in a way that I never believed in the writing. I mean, the the acting is something, I think ultimately a lot of people ask, or they will say to me things like, it's great that you found something that you love to do. But the truth of the matter is I found something that I can do. Because a lot of jobs I had, I really sucked at. You know what I'm saying? Where you go to work every day and you know when they find out that you don't have a clue, you're gonna get fired. But with acting, when I walked on stage, I knew that I got this. I can do this. And I like that feeling of knowing that this is what I do. And so it was easy for me to believe it. I used to want to be, we talked about the writing, I used to want to sing, but I never really believed in it to where you can let go and just allow the way that I go back.
Good answer.
Oh, okay, well, we'll keep this for some answers.
What kind of writing do you do?
What kind of writing do I do? Well, I believe that all of us in the arts are storytellers at heart. And I think there's a lot of amazing stories that haven't been told. One of the frustrating things I find in movies now is this whole need for action and wars. My God. Even a lot of the Christian movies, it's all about war. Somebody's going to war to do something. And so we get caught up in the action that we forget the stories, and it's about the people. And indigenous cultures, we identified with the stories. The stories were handed down. They told us who we are, the part we play, our roles in society. And I think we still do that. And so in writing, there's a lot of stories that just haven't been told, or haven't been told very well. And Hollywood has really, like most things, they've gone more for making money as opposed to serving society. So what kind of things I tell, I like telling stories. The first African American heavyweight champion of the world was Jack Johnson a little over 100 years ago. I've been working on a one-man show, his story. But I just think that the gift that we have is to know each other and to see ourselves in each other. When I hear a story, when I see a story that touches me or rings true, I actually see myself in those stories. And I think that's important that we do that. So that's where my interest is, and I've written a lot, but ultimately it's about telling stories.
That's a good segue into my next question, which is, you've been on a show, or you were on a show called Once Upon a Time, and you played King Poseidon.
Yeah.
And so I just want to know, how did it feel to portray God?
Well, yeah, it was great. I've always seen myself as God. The first role I played on stage, I played God. So I say that jokingly, but I think but anyway. I like being King Poseidon, even though when I got the role, I thought it was the king in The Little Mermaid. So when I was trying to figure out how they were going to have Ariel be my daughter, because Ariel, it's like, I'm going, okay, well, how are they going to work this out, Ariel? And then he said, no, that was Triton. You're not Triton, you're Poseidon. So your daughter is the evil octopus. I'm like, it's Hollywood, where you always sort of throw a little curve. So anyway, in Greek mythology, Poseidon is Triton's dad, by that distance. So anyway, but it was fun being part of that show. It's a silly show. I cannot understand what goes on in the show. It's very confusing to me, but I love the cast working the show.
We're going to go into Ghostbusters. Can you tell us about Winston de Ghostbusters, the Air Force major?
Well, I think it's probably known now. Even though I've had a discussion with Ivan Reitman, who produced and directed it, and he remembers these events very differently than I. But the original character in Ghostbusters the guy was an Air Force colonel or major or something. He had just gotten out of the military and he was looking for a job, but he had all these skills. And so he joined the Ghostbuster, gang. And later on, when we got ready to do the movie, they cut all that backstory out. He was just a guy looking for a job. And I will say that I think the movie is perfect the way it is. So whatever happened or didn't happen, it works really, really great. And that, which is why I think it holds up. But, yeah, but and at the heart of it, I think Winston is a guy who's like, I need a job, and you don't have, doesn't have to be that complicated. Just tell me what you need me to do, and I'm good to go. And I think a lot of people related to that, that aspect of it. Even though I noticed in the game and the recent incarnations of the character, he's now a doctor, and he's, which is all well and good. I don't think it matters much to Winston, but yeah.
How did it feel to work with Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis?
I like to work. I like to work with good people, people who are good at what they do. I was not a big fan of Saturday Night Live. Not that I liked the show, I just didn't really watch the show. So they weren't household names in my household. But I liked them. They were nice people. And I think they're very, very good at what they do, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I'll just say that. It didn't, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I had a great time. I mean, I really liked them a lot. It didn't, make Santa Claus bring me bigger gifts or anything. But it was nice to be part of that.
Do you have any funny stories from the set?
No, it was nothing funny. It was a job. No, really. It's like, okay, I'm here. What are we doing? And, unless it's funny when the guy walks off the set and he doesn't come back. And it's, no, it was great. It's great working. I mean, I love what I do. I love when I get a job. I've been very blessed, 50 years of working as an actor, too, and worked with some really, really good people. And I have nothing but the greatest, respect. And, but in terms of, I'm not a practical joker. People look at me and they don't pull practical jokes on me. I think it comes from being a dad. There's a way when your kids sort of act up and you can look at them a certain way and then they settle down. I do that with other actors. When it looks like it's getting out, I just go, no. And so I can't think of any really funny story other than, well, I've said this before, one of the things I loved about working on the movie that I remember I took with me, because I wasn't just starting out, but it was the first really big movie that I was a part of. And Bill Murray was a star at that time, and Danny. And I loved the way he connected to his fans. I mean, we'd be on the streets of New York and people would come up and they would just, and Bill really seemed to engage in a way that was honest and it was fun, and he didn't play that star thing and none of that stuff. And I loved the way people reacted to him, and I took that away as just, seeing people respect people. It didn't matter what role you played, it be the actor or the fan or whatever. It's just a certain respect that I felt he always gave people. Not to say that he got along with everybody he worked with, but in terms of relating to people, I just thought it was very honest, and I always remember that, and I think it's always been a model for me, a reminder of just treating people with respect,
All right, I got a heavy one. Do you believe in the paranormal?
Do I believe in the paranormal? Yeah, I think it would be very foolish for us to believe that that everything to be experienced can be experienced in the five senses. We only have five, right? I mean, in the entire scheme of things, the universe and beyond, there has to be more than five. you have to have a body to experience these bodies. And without this body, who knows what goes on. So I think there's a lot of stuff going on that I don't understand. And perhaps some time, none of us are going to be here that long. I mean, if we're talking about 50 years, it's not that long. I mean, you know. I remember going to a funeral when I was about 3 or 4 years old, and my grandmother and the lady who lived next door had died, and I was crying, and she said, honey, don't worry, you know, none of us are going to be here that long, so don't feel sorry for her, because, you know, it's a journey. We all have to make that, and I got that. So, yeah, I believe there's something far beyond, and I've met people who want me to go on ghost hunts, which I have no desire. I don't want any, you know, I tell my wife, you know, I love you, but if you pass away before me, don't come back. You know, don't show up in the bedroom. I don't want to see, you know, wait until I arrive. So I'm not, I was asked to do a show called Celebrity Ghost Stories. I think it's the ghost stories, and I did the show 20 years ago, and I had an unusual experience. They made a televised reenactment of it. My wife and my son were in a hotel, and we saw this ghost. And so recently, they asked me to come on a show called The Haunting, and they had seen that show, and so now they had a reader or a medium. I never gone to that. I didn't know what a medium did. I thought a medium was like a fortune teller, but apparently not. She actually talks to people that we can't see. So, and I was like, okay, whatever. But when I got on the show, she said some things that I thought was really fascinating, and I go, hey, what do I know? You know. But I don't think it's something that I need to be concerned with. I think what's important that I live this life as best I can. So in answer to the question, yeah, probably. So I believe there's something going on. I don't understand it, and but it's not necessary for me to understand it to have a good life.
In the Cowboy Way, you played Officer Sam Mad Dog Shaw. Can you tell us about your character?
Yeah, well, he saw himself as a cowboy, even though he was a New York City policeman. He was a model policeman. I love that character. I love working with Woody Harrelson and Kiefer Sutherland, and riding horses, and that was really kind of cool. But he was, I think he was from Texas, he saw himself as being from Texas, and so it was a fun character. It was a fun character. And those guys are great to work with. Again, a lot of what we do, I suppose, in any job is the people who you work with. You know, when you respect and like the people, it's a lot better than when you work with people who you're not sure that they're comfortable. And I find the people who act out the most are the most difficult to work with are people who are not really secure with their own abilities, which means then they blame somebody else for things going wrong. But that was one of the shows that I liked, Cowboy. It didn't do a lot of business. It tested really well. They thought it was going to be this huge hit, and then it never found an audience. So, but I had a lot of fun working on it.
All right, in 1994, you did a little film called Congo, and by the same writer that did Jurassic Park. And I was wondering, before a film like that, where there's source material, do you read that source material?
Yeah, I did. I read the book, and you know, Mike Crichton, I was a fan of, you know, all of his books. I love the story, very detailed, scientific sort of exploration in the middle of the jungle. Excuse me. Setting. So, and I was excited that we were making a movie. I was looking forward to bringing that to film. But then when Patrick, the writer of the script, can't think of his last name, but the script was more of a Saturday matinee movie. I mean, it wasn't the kind of detailed stuff that Crichton did.
Yeah, because it was a very intense book.
Yeah, the book, but the film sort of was something very separate, very different. In the book, the character that I played was, his dad was Irish and his mom was an East Indian, and he had a British accent.
He was a badass. I would have loved to see more of Captain Kelly.
Yeah, you know, and I wanted to go there. The studio really wanted something very different. They didn't even originally want the accent. But I said, come on, you gotta do it. I mean, it's like, so I had to kind of fight for that, but at the end of the day, I love the character and I love working on it. Once again, the people really, Laura Linney, I think it was her first film. So it was great being a part of it.
Before making The Crow, had you ever read the comic book?
No, I had never read the comic book or heard of the comic book or, actually, I still haven't read the comic book. No, I wasn't familiar, but I knew Brandon. I met Brandon about 8 years earlier in Vancouver. I was working on a show with Miguel Ferrar, who did Knots Landing. His dad was Jose Ferrar. And he grew up with Brandon. They were good friends. Brandon had just come over back from China and stopped through Vancouver and hung out for about a week, and I got to know him pretty well. And then 6, 7 years later when we did The Crow, I really liked Brandon a lot, and it was great to work with him. It was obviously very unfortunate and strange what happened, but yeah, and the writer of the comic, I'm going blank on his name. That's what happens when you get old, you know. The body, even if the body holds up, the mind is like, I'm tired. Who did the comic? Oh, James O'Barr. James O'Barr, yeah. James, now I'm going to say, he's a good friend of mine. I just can't remember. Yeah. But I like James a lot. And I met him on the film, and, and it's great, but, yeah.
Bai Ling, if you didn't know, was supposed to be part of this comic convention. She wasn't able to make it for whatever reason, and I was just wondering if you could share any anecdotes about your time with her on the film.
Well, what's one of those things, sometimes, you read things into people that has nothing to do with people at all. It has to do with what your judgment, which I find the older I get, the more that thing about judging, you cannot judge because you have no clue what's going on. But when I first met Bai Ling, she had just gotten here from China, and we were on the set. We were having lunch together in my dressing room with Brandon and her and a few other people. And Brandon said something. The conversation it turned to Brandon's dad. Didn't say who he was. It said my dad. And she says, "Oh, your dad? Was your dad an actor?" And everybody just kind of looked at her, and he said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, what's his name?" And he said, "Bruce Lee." And she said, "Never heard of him." So from that point on, it went into, oh God, I'll get her out of here. You know what I mean? But then later on, she and I talked about it when I realized in China, I guess he has a different name. So she didn't know the name or something. I don't know. But I like her a lot. She's a friend. So that story makes her sound a little crazy. Which she is, but it's, but I like her a lot. And, so it's my body. So.
Oh, that's a great story. All right, so moving on into voice acting, because you have done a lot of voice acting.
Yeah. In fact, the Batman movie, Bad Blood, just came out, or it's coming out, I guess.
I think
Here to come out?
Tuesday, yeah. In fact, I was invited to the premiere, which I won't be able to go to, but I don't do a lot in it, but it's nice to be part of it.
Can you talk to how voice acting is different than traditional acting?
Well, voice, all you got is your voice, and you're relying on animators and other people to do a lot more. I mean, as an actor, I can say things with my body, with my, I got your whole instrument to work with. Whereas in voiceover, you basically, it's your voice, and other people are filling in the spaces. When I did Transformers Prime, they told me they were basing the character on me. And so I thought that's really kind of cool. And then they showed me the character, and it was just, it's like, I'm like, is that what you see when you see me? I'm not seeing this. So a lot of other people bring in a lot of things, but it's all work. I think if you're an actor, coming from where I came from, which is a very poor community, and I decided to be an actor, which is one of those careers that people look at you like you're crazy that you talk about. The one thing I knew is you need to prepare yourself to be able to make a living, which means you need to train as much as possible and lay a good foundation. So if it's comedy, you can do comedy. If it's drama, you can do drama. If they want you to sing or dance or whatever, or if it's voiceover, you've got to be prepared because there's no excuses. You know, you get a moment and there's no, so you have to prepare yourself for the long run. So 50 years later, thank God I'm still able to make a living doing what I do, but it's very, very important. A lot of young people say, I want to do this thing, and I'm really excited about it, and I'm saying, well, what are you doing? Are you on stage? Are you training? Are you going to school? Well, no, because it's not just a wish. I mean, it is a discipline, and if you're going to commit to it, I think I've been a pretty decent husband. I've been with my wife for 40 years. I think I was trying to be a good dad. My kids might disagree with that. But the one thing I've been true to is my work. I haven't compromised on my work. I've never, I didn't compromise with the work. There are times when, in other parts of life, but I think whatever you do, if it's, building houses or whatever, that is who you are to a certain extent. And I think you bring, part of your service, part of your contribution to society is in your work. So.
The DC Universe is really pushing their animated movies.
Yeah.
Will you be doing any more voice acting as Lucius Fox or as different characters for DC?
Hey, if there's a steady paycheck in it. No, I mean, I love to work, so I'd love to do more. I'd love to be part of that Marvel universe, and I just like to work, so yeah. I'd like to, but as an actor, it's not like a musician. I can just take my guitar and go and play and make some money. As an actor, you have to be offered a job. And when they stop offering you jobs, you just don't work. So I'm always prepared and ready and want to send out the signal that I'm over here and I'm ready to go to work. But ultimately, somebody has to say, we want you. And if it was up to me, I'd work every day, on and do a lot more. But I'd like to do more. If it, except at a certain point in life, it's something that you don't want to do. If it's a story you don't want to tell, then you pass on it because it should feel good.
All right, so I am going to open it up to the audience questions. I just want to ask one more question before I open it up to you guys. So, you hear about people going to sets like in the jungle or they're working in really like hot conditions. Can you tell us about maybe like the most uncomfortable place that you've ever acted and how that went?
Yeah, well, like I said, I like to work, so I would take almost any job, especially in the old days. When we did Congo, we shot in Costa Rica. There was a lot of strange bugs and, movies like, oh man, we say there's a place that had windows in it, so Ghostbusters, the whole marshmallow thing with the, with the shaving cream and wearing it for 10 hours and it got into your skin. So part of it is, I've done movies where I was like really cold. In fact, I'm at a point now where honestly, I would not do a movie where it's really cold. You know, I did a movie called, I think the last title is Christmas Time or something. I played an angel, that this little girl comes and anyway, I'm an angel. It's a complicated story, yeah, but anyway, I'm an angel, but we're shooting in Colorado, and we shot it in last year in December. But they had a record freeze that came through, and I was really cold. And I would have paid them to let me go home. I don't want to be here. I don't like being cold anymore. So there's certain things you just it's just not worth it. But the character, as an actor, if the character is interesting enough, the story is compelling enough, then yeah, you go through whatever's necessary to tell that story. And ultimately, if it's really good, there's going to be something uncomfortable about it. It's going to tap into places in your psyche, things, but it's what you have to do. But yeah, so I was looking at Leonardo DiCaprio, who I did a movie with Basketball Diaries with a few years ago, and this what is it, the Revenant, the new movie, and they were, God, that had to be awful. I mean, you know, it looked miserable just looking at the movie. So you know, but you know, you pay the price, you do what you do, and hopefully it'll be something that people will like. And you know,
Awesome. All right, guys. So we're opening it up to the audience. Does anybody have any questions? Purple.
Are you still a little bit upset about not getting the role for the Ghostbusters cartoon? And if you have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw some of the episodes. I mean, I didn't watch, every week, watch the Ghostbusters cartoon. I'm not upset about it. You know, Hollywood, first off, when you invest your energy into being upset, it's like you're giving a part of yourself to something. The price you pay is you. Because the people who you're upset with, they don't care. And so, Hollywood is Hollywood. They make choices, and I'm not in control of those choices. So, whatever reason, I wasn't offered the part, but I was shooting something and couldn't start the day they wanted to start, so then they went to Arsenio Hall. I like Arsenio, and I'm sure he did a great job on it, but it is what it is. It's okay. Me now. Yeah, so it's, I got nothing bad to say about it. You look back at life and like I was a single dad, and you think, wow, if I'd gotten that job, it would have helped a lot in terms of paying the rent, in terms of keeping things going, but that wasn't meant to be. It was meant for Arsenio to do that job, and that's okay. Yeah. I think sometimes you really gotta, I'm trying to find the right word. It's about loving yourself, enough. I've never met anybody who I'd change places with. So at the end of the day, you really add it up, and you really, I mean, I'm good. I am so blessed in so many ways. And so when things sort of go, and you kind of go, what was that about? And why did he get that? You kind of go, it's okay. That was sort of, the Ghostbusters were really sort of weird, some of the things that happened, but 30 years later, I'm like, yeah, I was very blessed to be a part of that. I'm thankful, and I got nothing but love. Yeah. You sure you're all clear on that, right? Right. TJ?
Okay. So I'm pretty sure that this answer is on the internet somewhere, but I am too lazy to Google it, so I'd rather ask it in person. Is there a reason that you're always drawn, or that you've played so many characters that have been police officers, like so many? Like I think I could name like a whole bunch. Is it just you're drawn to it, or those the parts that you've been offered?
Well, when I look at my career, I don't really see as many police officers as probably you see. but maybe you saw the ones that I was a police officer. So, like I was saying, I'm an actor, so somebody has to give me the job. And as an actor, it's not like I got 20 scripts on my desk now and they're waiting for me to decide which one I want to do. There's so few jobs that are offered, so those are the jobs that have been basically offered that I chose to do. I don't have anything against playing a police officer, but I don't, in my mind at least, unless you think a guy who's a warden in Oz was a police officer, I suppose in some level he is, or the CIA officer in Miss Congeniality was a police officer.
I guess like in that line, because like even in the movie, what is it, The Substitute, you were an ex, like, I think it was like an ex police officer or ex something.
Well, he was a principal, so I didn't think of the, I don't know, people see a certain thing. I think a certain actor brings a certain energy to a character, and so how people see you, you know, I'd rather be seen as the handsome leading guy, but maybe they didn't see that when they saw me. Maybe they saw as a police officer. Maybe they saw me as a cop that arrested them. That'll probably sway my whole career. But, you know, I don't know. It's what people. But I've been very blessed to. I mean, I was a policeman in Pro, but the Anna Ross was not. The character in Congo was not a policeman. So that's not been something that I. But yeah, it's how you're seen, I suppose.
Yeah, of course there's the new Ghostbusters reboot with the all-female cast. How do you feel about that? Looking forward to seeing it, or any thoughts?
Well, yeah, the new Ghostbuster reboot is all female.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say it's 4 ladies, and they're very funny people, and the script was very good, and I'm sure the special effects are going to be phenomenal. And had they not asked me to do something in it and paid me well, I probably would be very, you know, I'd probably feel differently than I feel now that they have paid me. And so now that I'm in it, I like it a lot. I'm even going to go see it. So, you know, so yeah, I mean, it's always been good. I think I was on the red carpet. Sometimes you these premieres, and they have a red carpet. You walk down and take your picture, and then there's all these TV news, and they want to know what you think about everything. And so, and you can't joke on those. And I made the mistake of joking about being all female. I think I said, if it's all female cast, that doesn't sound like it's a job that is for me. I mean, it does sound right. I mean, it's all female, so I didn't. So, and I said I didn't think it was what the fans were expecting, because I know for years we've been trying to get another one. But, and I also said that if it's all female, why are they calling it Ghostbusters? I mean, maybe it's a reboot. It came out the next day in the press as Ernie Hudson doesn't like women. So I have nothing against women. I love women. I'm happy to see women bust ghosts. And I don't care if it's women or men. If I'm not one of the ones busting, I don't care. But I'm happy they made another, because I think the fans have been incredibly loyal for 30 years. We should have made others.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that, for whatever reason, you know, I was always ready to go to work. So, but yeah, so I'm happy. I like the girls. They were incredibly generous and kind to me when we were on set, and so I got nothing but love. You know. So, yeah. I'm sorry, am I putting you down?
It's been written a lot, and I think it's actually true that you were one of the first ones, especially kind of starting off with Ghostbusters in the 80s, that brought more acting credit for the black community, where you weren't getting roles that were kind of just off to the side, or you were kind of thrust into the spotlight now, and I think that's what a lot of people also have noticed. And what I wanted to ask is, how do you feel about taking on the honor as well as the pressures on that a lot of those actors growing up saw you as an icon to their
Well, you know, I mean, of course, I know you heard the controversy over the Academy Awards and, Hollywood has never been as diverse as our society is. I mean, that just hasn't been the role. I don't feel in particular, I mean, my job is to do my job, and the whole role model thing, I never quite got that. I mean, I never wanted someone to be a role model to my kids. I think people should live their lives best they know how. We'll all make mistakes. So, I'd like to see more stories told, other stories. There's a lot of amazing indigenous stories, it's a big world, and I like to see Hollywood reflect that, but hey, if you got a studio and you got Bush, you can do whatever you want to do. But, so, I don't even know if I'm answering your question. It's like, I just want a job, I go to work, and hopefully, people like it and want to see more of, I think there's been a lot more diversity than there ever has been. And, the world is changing, and we keep wanting to play by these rules of 50 years ago, but it's a different time. So, like I said, I don't know if I answered. So, sure.
I just want to know, what was the best role that you were a part of? What was the one that you liked the most?
My favorite role, they were all the best. Sort of, in every role brings a certain thing. I've enjoyed, I love working. I love finding something interesting in a role. It's very frustrating for me. The only frustrating thing I find as I've gotten older is because I have a bit of a name, I'll get asked to do films or TV shows, and then I'm there and they don't utilize my character. That's frustrating, because I was on Desperate Housewives. I did 8 or 9 episodes, and they called and said they really loved me and they wanted me to be on the show, and I was really excited about it. So for the 2 weeks getting ready for it, which character am I going to play? Which of the housewives am I going to sleep with? Because they're desperate. I mean, it's like, come on, right? Come on, and then I get on the show and they say, no, you're the detective. And you're not sleeping with anybody. You'll come in and say you're arrested and leave so we can tell this story. So it becomes very frustrating because a lot of times people will want you there, and it's almost like, well, we don't know how to write you in the story as a human being, which is just write a character, write a person. I mean, it's so that becomes a little frustrating, but they're all fun and different. When I did the Hannah Ross Grayla, I love that character. It was great because it's an exploration for me to see a different perspective. Because every character has a different perspective. And I mean, obviously, a character that I do, it's me. But it's a character who grew up in Laredo and who works for Border Patrol. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So you have to sort of see the world from that. I don't know what that's like. So in preparing for the role, it helps me to sort of see, So they're all fun exploring and seeing things from. I may play a dad who has a different. Way of raising his kids than I have, and so I kind of go, so it makes me question the world, and in questioning, you come up with things that you might not have thought about before. Back.
Young man?
During the film of Ghostbusters, were some of your lines that improvised on the spot, or were you just in the script?
Well, we have the script, and we did the script, but then after we did a scene, we sort of tried different things out, and so a lot of the lines were kind of improv, especially in the first movie. I thought there was some great lines. A lot of those were improv, which is a lot of fun. So, yeah.
Why did you shave your stash for Ghostbusters 2?
Somebody said they thought the studio wanted me to. No, it's, I don't know weird on old men wearing long hair. You know, it just doesn't work. But, so mustache, so I always was trying to find that right look, because I thought if I had the right look, it would just really jump my career in hyperspace, and I would be this. So I tried the mustache, it didn't work. I take the mustache off, I tried a little beard, a little goatee, a little So, and then you realize it's not about the mustache. They just don't want you. I mean, it's like, so I've always been just trying to cut my hair short, and, you know, hair is weird to me. So it was just, I just happened to shape my, there's no particular reason. Nobody said you can't do it. So yeah, it just happened. But somehow in the Ghostbusters mustache, there's been a lot of talk about why, you know, the studio didn't come and say, you know, shave or else. You know. Yeah.
When you started out in the acting industry, did you have a fear that your career might not pan out as great as it has? And if so, how did you deal with that?
Well, when I started out in the acting career, did I have a fear that my career might not pan out? Well, when you look around, you kind of go, life kind of sucks anyway. So, you know, my ex-wife told me that I was trying really, really hard to, you know, to be responsible. I had a family, married at 18, you know, and I really was trying. And then I discovered acting, and I wanted to do the acting, but I heard actors make less than the custodian working in theater because they have a job, and actors work for a few weeks and then they're unemployed for 6 months. So I was really a little bit concerned, and I'm not married to my first wife, but I'll always thank her because we're having this conversation. I said, I really, you know, I don't know the acting thing. I don't know if I can, and she said, you're broke anyway, so you're not going to lose any money. So, you know, and I thought, yeah, I mean, it's like, so if I'm going to be whatever, I might as well do what I love to do. I've always, as a little kid, I've always had to work, picking fruit or, you know, just always found a way to make some money. And so I figured I can always hustle a car, get a place to stay. So I wasn't worried about starving. Also, I had, when I was about 15, we ran out of food, basically. We had rice, but you know when you eat rice every day for like, so I went on this fast for 5 days, and I discovered that you don't die. Because I thought if you don't eat, you're gonna like die in a minute. I mean, it's, but you don't. And so I found that no matter, I'm gonna be fine. You know, now my kids I was probably worried about than me, but I guess what I'm saying is, at a certain point, I didn't worry about the acting. I just felt that I'm gonna be fine, and I'll find a way to make it happen. And when I was a single dad, it was very hard for me to say to my kids, this is America, you can be anything you want to be, whatever those things we tell our kids. And then say that I want to be an actor, but I can't, I got to get a job because I got you. So ultimately, you lead by your example, and so if I want my kids to believe in the possibility, the dream, then I have to kind of live it. And so I don't want to give up my acting and use the kids as an excuse for why I can do it. I know in my heart that the universe, or for those who are religious, God, or whatever you want to believe in, I'll be fine. And I've always been fine. I've been good. Acting's been good. Hands sort of up there. Yeah.
Where do you think your career would have been without Ghostbusters?
You know, you look back, what do I think my career would have been without Ghostbusters? You never know. You know, you never know. You can look at the jobs you didn't get. They asked me to come in and read for Grey's Anatomy, and I just finished doing a series for ABC, and I felt I shouldn't have to read, so I didn't go in and read. And then Grey's Anatomy now is in their 13th season or something, and the guy who got my part is making $1 $1 million an episode. And then, and I kind of go, my God, if I had just gotten that part. But it doesn't work like that. I don't know, you know. I think no matter what, I would have been fine. But I was meant to do Ghostbusters, and that's why I did it. But you never know. You gotta, you know, there are many paths you can go, but they're all fine. You know, they're all fine. Unless you're stupid, then you do dumb stuff. Yeah.
How did you land your first film role? Like how hard was it for you, and what did it take just to land? Or
Okay, my first film role, I started college in 1967, and I did a lot of theater. I did my undergraduate work at Wayne State of Detroit. I went to Yale, but I had been doing a lot of theater. I went out to Los Angeles to do a play, but I've been wanting to get into movies. I went out to Los Angeles, and I was trying to find an agent, and I couldn't get an agent. I met an actor named Michael Constantine. He was in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. He played the dad. And he had a TV show called Room 222. Somebody old. It was a big popular TV show. I was doing a play in Los Angeles. I went to a party, and one of the guys in the play invited me. He was his brother-in-law, and I met Michael at the party. I didn't really know him, but I asked him would he introduce me to his agent, because I was trying to get an agent, and he agreed to do that, and he did. He called his agent and asked him would he see me, which is just a nice thing to do because he didn't know me from Adam. But I made the appointment. I got the appointment to go in to see the agent in Beverly Hills. I was living in Los Angeles, and Beverly Hills is like a big thing. I was staying at my brother's house, and my brother, I had to borrow his car to go to see this agent. And we got to, I got to the agent's office. I parked in the parking lot, and I'm going to get this agent, and I've been really trying so hard. I go into his office and they have me sit there for like 3 hours, and finally he agrees to see me. I go in his office, and he said, listen, before you start, the only reason I'm seeing you is because Michael Constantine is a good client, and he asked me to see you, but I'm telling you now, there's nothing here for you. I don't care if you go back to Detroit or wherever you came from, there's no work out here for you. And it really kind of sort of, it was hard to hear that, you know, because I've been really trying. And so his desk was by the door, and I was sitting like over here, but I had to walk past him. So I thought, to save face, I said, well, is it okay then if I like leave my picture and resume in case something comes up? And he said, what the hell am I going to do with your photo? And he holds up his trash can. He says, I get this crap in the mail every day, so I don't want your picture. And I went outside, and you know, it's like I've been trying so hard, and it just broke. I mean, I just felt so totally, okay, I cried. You know, I mean, I was just that disappointed. But at that same party, I met a girl who gave me her number, and I couldn't go back to my brother's house because they were putting me down for not doing anything. So I called the girl, and I go to her place, and we sit and we drink a bottle of scotch or something. And I sort of cried the blues about how hard it was, and I've been trying so hard. I go home, and I just can't get out of bed. And then I get a phone call from Paramount Studios, and they want me to come in, and they want to see me for this movie, which is kind of cool. But what I didn't know was, when I went to the girl's apartment, it was Tony Parks, and her dad was Gordon Parks, the famous director who did Shaft and big movies. And so when the picture I tried to give the agent, apparently I was still holding it, because when I went to her apartment, I left it on her piano. And that night he had come to our house for dinner, and he saw my picture on the piano, and he needed an actor for this particular role, and so he called. The studio called.
Last question.
And no, let me finish the story. So, this is good. Hold on, you're gonna get to the good part. So then I go into, they call me up, I go in to meet him, and he says, this is an actor, this is a character. He has this big dance number, and do you dance? And I said, yeah, because that's what you say. I said, yeah, yeah. And he said, well, he also has to drive this cute horses, and I need somebody really comfortable with horses. Do you ride? And I said, yeah. So then they tell me to wait outside, but then I'm thinking, you know, I really don't dance, you know, I really don't drive. So I went back inside and said, Miss Parks, you know, that dance thing, I'm not a dancer, but I can learn to dance. I mean, I just want you to know that. And then, and so on about the horses, I really don't, but I can learn. So he says, okay, wait outside. So then the guy comes out and they offer me this role in the movie. It's called Lead Belly, and they paid me $605 a week, which was a lot of money to me at the time, even though the least they could pay me was $604. That was like totally minimum. But that was the first part. I don't think you know how things are going. I think you have to be out there. And the universe will figure the details out. But it's hard sometimes to go to that edge without some backup hearing. Okay, sorry, the end of that story. So,
Last quick question.
Whatever happened to that agent, did you ever go back and say,
yeah, you know, but it's not cool to do that. So, you know, there was a girl, the first love of my life, I loved this girl. I was in the 8th grade, she was so beautiful. I liked her so much I couldn't talk to her. You know one of those things where you just kind of, but finally one day I got the nerve up to she would wait outside for her mom to pick her up outside of school, when school got, and she'd sit on this rail. And so I got the nerve up. I never really talked to her much, you know, to go out, and I sat next to her and I said, will you be my girlfriend? And she looked at me kind of like, I don't know you. And then she said, okay, yeah. And then I was like, I didn't know what to do. So then I kind of fell over the rail. I thought it would be funny, but it wasn't. And then I kind of sat there, and then her mother picked her up. And then we were boyfriend and girlfriend. But then we'd sit together at lunch, and I couldn't talk to her. It was really awkward. And so finally, she quit me. I was like, oh, thank God. She quit me to go with another boy named Willie Waffle.
What?
Actually, I found out later his name was Willie Waffles, but they called him Willie Waffle. But it was okay that she quit me, but to quit me for Willie Waffle was like really, and so it was fine. I never talked to her after that. But I was doing a movie in South Africa. I just finished another movie. Things were really happening in my career. And so I called her up, and I said, so how's it going? And by the way, how's Willie Waffle? Because I'm shooting a movie, and I'm heading to South Africa to do another movie, and yeah, so what's going on? You know, but it's not cool to do that. So sometimes you have to. So you just have to go, you know, yeah. But no, I didn't call the agent out. Yeah. So.
All right, before we let you go, any plugs, and where can we find you on social media?
Any plugs? Social media, I'm Ernie_Hudson on Twitter, and I'm Ernie Hudson Official on Facebook, but I'll be honest with you, I don't really do a lot of that stuff. Every once in a while I'll check my publicist. She tweets sometimes very badly. She doesn't sound like me, and so I try to do it myself, but I had some photos taken, and she posted one of the photos and said, aren't I a stud muffin? So, but I have a website. website, Ernie Hudson Official, and, yeah.
Well, I gotta say, for me, this was an honor. I'm so glad you were able to come to Laredo, and thank you for me and buy some merch, say hi, you know, shake hands.
Just come by and say hi. Good, thanks, guys.
Thank you.